Welcome to the Divinely Driven Results Show, where you learn and implement divine strategies for real results in your business. I'm your host, Elise Smith, Christian business strategist who empowers Christian women entrepreneurs just like you to reach their sales goals by partnering with God, empowering their mindset, and utilizing biblical business strategy. Now, the question I have for you guys today is, do you hate the word or the question, what's for dinner? As much as I do. I hate that question. And it's because we are so busy with everything else that we have on our plate that a lot of times our nutrition takes a back seat. And unfortunately, that affects the results that we see in our business. So we are really going to focus on, with an incredible expert, a great way to be able to answer that question with confidence and be able to understand how to take care of ourselves and our nutrition plan to be able to serve more people in our business. So we have the amazing Annette Presley, who's a fertility nutrition specialist, here with us today. So Annette, please tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Elise. Thank you for having me here. So I help women get pregnant, mostly. I've been a registered dietitian for 30 years now. And halfway through, I discovered that the advice I was supposed to give out actually causes chronic disease and obesity. So I changed what I taught and actually had to defend my credentials for telling people to eat butter instead of margarine, but made it through that, won the case. And so now I can teach the truth, which is very nice. And I kind of went down the path of functional nutrition. And so that's mostly what I do now, which is a whole lot better.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about what functional nutrition is.
Yeah, so with functional nutrition, we really look at the structure and function of the body and how nutrients impact those structures and those functions. And so that way, a diagnosis is irrelevant because we just see what's not working the way it's supposed to, and then we use nutrients, food, and supplements to fix that. Oh. So it's really kind of cool.
That's so neat. I love getting to the bottom of it, right? I mean, there's so many diets out there and there's so much around, you look on the internet of like, how should I eat well? And there's a million different opinions. So how is what you teach different than, fad diets?
So my number one piece of advice to people is to pay attention to your body and how foods make you feel, because there is no one size fits all diet. I personally follow an animal-based diet, so I eat animal foods, fruit, and honey. My daughter doesn't really like beef, so she tends to eat more chicken and stuff, and she loves vegetables. So it's, everybody has their own, the foods they enjoy. And so basically you should follow a diet that you can stick to for the rest of your life and one that you enjoy. So that's kind of my bottom line. So I guess that's one way I'm different. I'm not dogmatic.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. I love finding joy in the process too. Holy cow, fad diets are all about restriction and you have to enjoy it. Otherwise you're not going to stick with it, right?
Exactly. And you're just going to bounce from one thing to the other and you're never going to be happy. And it's always going to be a struggle. And I just don't think we should have to put so much energy into food that we don't have that energy to put into our business or our relationship with God or whatever else it might be.
Exactly. So talk to me about how nutrition has played a role in your business as far as, how you've been able to take care of yourself to be able to have better results in your business.
Yeah. So I used to have allergies and asthma when I followed a semi-vegetarian diet. So when I started experimenting, when I found out that the advice I was supposed to give caused problems and changed, I experimented on myself first. And so I found that for me, when I ate more animal foods, I felt better, I slept better, I lost weight without even trying. My allergies disappeared and my asthma has been in remission for 20 years. It did come back for a little bit last year, I think, from having to wear a mask at work. But now that I don't have to wear masks anymore, it's gone again.
Awesome. That's so neat. So we know that you are incredible at the fertility nutrition side of things, but help us with the entrepreneur side of things. What, when you talk about this concept of, hating that question of what's for dinner, how do you help people to be able to answer that question? Any tips you can give us that will give us more confidence in answering that question?
Yes. So there was actually one thing that I learned as a dietitian that I think is brilliant. So in hospitals, we have what we call menu cycles. And so they're either on a 1 week cycle, a 2 week cycle, or a 4 week cycle. It depends on what kind of hospital it is. And so I thought, what if we applied that to home? And so basically what I have people do is create, they start with the very basics. So you have the same breakfast and the same lunch every day. You have 7 different dinners. So all you have to do right now is prepare or plan for 7 different meals for dinner. And then next week you repeat. So you've already got the meals, you already have the shopping list written, you already have the recipes, and you just keep repeating. When you get a day where you could experiment with something new, try a different recipe. If you like it, add it into the schedule and just keep doing that. And then eventually you'll have a 2 week schedule that you can rinse and repeat. And you can make it for, you could go, how many years or weeks are there? 52 in the year. I mean, you could, if you really can't stand eating the same thing every day, but that's how I started, because dinner tends to be the hardest thing. We can always eat leftovers for lunch. Breakfasts are pretty easy. It's just nailing those dinners down. And really the easiest thing to do is to have a cycle. So you just rinse and repeat. And then you plan once and you never have to do it again.
Yeah, we actually do that very similarly with email campaigns. Some of our clients have, a monthly newsletter or something that goes out. They create 12 emails and then they put them in their email campaign to do the same thing over and over again, year after year. And no one's going to be like, wait, didn't I get that same exact email last February?
Right.
And so I love that concept of the cycles. And in fact, my husband and I kind of started to do that as well, because we're always trying kind of different things to be as healthy as we can as we're trying to conceive a child. And so just that concept of, okay, well, let's see what we did 2 weeks ago. Let's repeat the whole thing and just throw in a new recipe, because we like to experiment. My husband's the greatest cook. Oh my heavens, I'm so blessed. And so I love when he experiments with new foods. So we usually experiment with something once a week, but we just, repeat what we did 2 weeks ago and it totally works. I love this idea. That is so cool. How did you come up with this? Do you have experience being in the hospital world?
Yeah, so I used to work in a hospital. That was my first job outside of once I became a registered dietitian. And so I, learned how to do that, and it just kind of stuck with me at home, because I hate the question, what's for dinner? And I can't even get it together if I don't have a plan. And so that really is the key, is to have that plan. But when you have to plan every week, it can get rather tedious. So this way you do it once. And then I have tips on how to plan, so that it goes pretty easy as well. But yeah, you do it once and repeat, and it works fabulously.
Awesome. Can you give us a sneak peek? I know you've got an amazing gift for us at the end here, but what's one little sneak peek you can give us on how to plan?
Yeah, so what I do is I plan either around a protein or a cuisine. So you can either do you have Italian night and Greek night and Mexican night and Chinese night and, on and on, Indian, Ethiopian, whatever night you want. And I even plan for the nights when I know I'm not going to have time to cook. So that might be the night out. Or the night for leftovers or something like that. Or I plan, Monday is beef night, Tuesday is chicken, Wednesday is turkey, Thursday is pork, however that goes. If you're vegetarian, you can do it around a bean. You've got black beans one night, pinto beans however it works.
Exactly. And that's the key, right? Is to plan. I think of
Mhm.
that scripture that God is a God of order. And in order to be able to have order, we need to have a plan first. I think that's why most of the time
Mhm.
busy entrepreneurs are usually eating out is because
Right.
it's that last minute thought of, oh, wait, I've got to take care of dinner. But we know dinner comes up every single night, guys.
Mhm.
We need to make sure we have that plan. So what kind of tips or tricks can you give us to encourage us to make time to plan? Like, why is it so important for us to plan rather than just trying to wing it?
Yeah, so planning, and especially if you do my technique for meal planning, it really shouldn't take more than 15 minutes a week. And again, you can use that 15 minutes for the rest of your life. So, I mean, really, I'm just asking for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so you can find time in your schedule for that, but but those 15 minutes can truly make the difference between your health and disease. So with those 15 minutes, it'll make it so much easier to lose weight if that's something that you're wanting to do. It'll make it so much easier to include the foods in your diet that make it so that you're not, you don't have pain when you wake up in the morning or when you sit down or stand up. Plan meals so that you can have the energy you need to get through the day without having to drink coffee at 3 in the afternoon or take a nap, all those kinds of things. So, I mean, that 15 little minute time zone will help in so many other areas of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And especially because as entrepreneurs and building businesses, like we need to remove the distractions, the things that are holding us back, those roadblocks in the way of our success. And sometimes health can be a huge distraction.
Yeah.
I know that if I eat chocolate, I get migraines and I still eat chocolate, but I know that that's coming up. And so the thing is that if I want to have chocolate, maybe I do it on a Saturday or Sunday where I know that I'm not, trying to use my energy to build my business. But it's all about that planning and being able to understand, I think, the ramifications of what we're doing, right? That we don't always see that immediate, I ate a bag of chips and now I'm feeling sluggish today. Maybe it hits you a couple of days later or, whatever that may be. But we've got to be able to remove those distractions and those things that are holding us back so that we can really step into that purpose that God has given us and serve those people that we are meant to serve. What are your thoughts on that?
Exactly. And I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but when I don't plan, I tend to open the refrigerator and stare.
Guilty.
Yeah. Because I just don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm in the mood for, and I'll close it and then I'll go to the pantry and stare at it for a little bit. And so there's a whole bunch of time wasted, right? So if I had a plan, I could just go in there, pull out what I need, fix it, and be on my way. And so, yeah, it really does make a difference, and it gives us the ability to do all the other things that we're called to do so that we don't waste time staring at food in the refrigerator.
Exactly. It makes me think of that silly meme of like, I open up my pantry and there's only ingredients in there.
Right.
We don't know what to do with it. There's food everywhere, but we don't know what to do with it. So it's having that plan. And the thing is that the way that we do one thing is very similar to the way we do everything. And so if you're not planning even your nutrition, you may not be planning things in your business either. And so as we get into the habit of planning our nutrition and we take away those roadblocks like we talked about, then we get into the habit of planning in our business as well. Looking at the beginning of your day or maybe the night for the next day of saying, what are the things that I'm going to accomplish that day, or planning in your week or whatever that may be. So I think there's so many parallels there, and there's so much to remember about that principle. It's a real divine principle of planning so that we're not having to just wing it in the end. Good. Any other tips or tricks you want to give us around nutrition?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be hard either. So I don't fix anything difficult. And so like with meat, sometimes I'll just cut it up in bite-sized pieces. You just throw it in a pan in some butter and maybe some salt and garlic, soy sauce or something, and it's delicious and it takes 5 minutes. So you don't have to prepare these elaborate meals that are going to take hours and use up every dish and pan in your kitchen, and then that you then have to clean.
Yeah.
So I always think about those things. How can I make this easier? And so a lot of recipes that require you to do steps in a succession, or something, I'll just put it all in at the same time. It tastes fine. Exactly. It might not look as good, but it tastes fine.
You're not winning any cooking competition shows.
Exactly.
So it's all
good. So, on the days, and then when I do plan, I have an idea of what my schedule is going to be. And so then I plan, okay, I need a really simple meal for Tuesday. Wednesday, I have nothing on the schedule, so I can do something elaborate and gourmet, those kinds of things. So
love it. Yeah. We used to do marathon cooking. Have you ever done that before?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's
I know what it
is. Interesting. Yep. So we used to take like our Saturday and Sunday, and we would plan out our whole month's meals, and then we would make as many as we possibly could, to the point where you prep them so that you can freeze them. And then literally all you have to do is throw it in the Instant Pot or the pressure cooker or in the oven or whatever it may be. And so if you ever want some tips on that, let me know, because we've been through that. It worked at different times in our life, in our business. And so if that's a tip that works for you, just plan it all out, do some research on what freezes well and what doesn't, because some things don't freeze well. But that's a really great way to do that as well, to save yourself some time. That way you just throw it in and you're good to go that night. So I love how you just said plan around your schedule, because some nights you might have more time and some nights you might, but don't let dinner sneak up on you, because it's going to happen every night, right?
Right, exactly. Dinner never doesn't happen, right?
Exactly. I love it.
And the other thing too, like if you eat vegetables, sometimes it can be very tedious to have to chop them up and, all that kind of stuff. What you can do is get frozen vegetables, put them in a casserole dish. I just put pats of butter on top of them with some salt and pepper and roast it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees. And it comes out tasting actually pretty good, for a vegetable. Because remember, I don't eat them. That's awesome. But it's so simple, no cutting or chopping or anything, except for the little pats of butter. But so that's just one way to make things really, really simple.
That's so cool. And you know what? We can use all of these tips and tricks and just any little thing that we can do to make our lives a little bit more effective, so that we can spend more time with God and the things that He wants us to focus on. That's what it's all about. And so I love the amazing thoughts that we've had here today. I want to share also that I don't know if you use a system, but I use a system called Plan to Eat, plantoeat.com. And it gives you like the grocery list, and it helps you find new recipes. And I mean, it just makes it super easy to plan. Do you use a system like that, or are you kind of paper pen? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a paper pen, but really any system that makes it easier for you is fabulous. So what I do is I plan the meals. I look for recipes either online or in my cookbooks, and then I'll print those out and put them in a notebook. So I have a cooking or a meal notebook. And that way I have it labeled like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And so week 1 is always going to be the same, because my shopping list is already made for that week. I have all the ingredients I need, and that kind of thing. And so that's kind of how I organize it. And it's really easy to find recipes online, and just print them out and put them in the book. So it makes it really easy.
That's so cool. I know with Plan to Eat, you can actually snip recipes from the website, and it'll automatically put it in your like recipe book, and then come up with the ingredients and all that. I'm on the digital side. I used to be the one that had the book, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So, to each their own, but find a way that's going to work for you, because sisters, there's a reason why God has called you to work this business. And there's a reason why you are juggling all these other things at once, right? Being a mom or a wife or daughter or whatever that may be in your life, along with the business, that there's other responsibilities, but we can have our cake and eat it too, right? We can
Right.
have everything that we're looking for. We just have to be able to plan that beforehand. So any tips and tricks that you guys have, please feel free to share them when you are watching this or listening to this either. And Annette, thank you so much for being on the show today. If people want to learn more about you and what you are up to, where can they go and tell us about this free gift?
Yeah, so my website is getpregnantplan.com, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at the Mommy Maker. So you can find, and I post nutrition information all the time, so you can check that out. And then the free gift I have is actually my no BS meal planning system. And so it's just a little digital course, and it'll help you. It's kind of like a challenge, so it'll help you organize your week, plan your meals. And I think I also included my information on fat, because the number one health tip I have for you is to stop eating vegetable oils like soy, corn, cottonseed, canola, safflower, sunflower, and grapeseed. And you want to eat beef tallow, lard, butter, ghee, olive oil, avocado oil. Those are all fine. Coconut and red palm. Yeah. So.
Okay, that sounds good. I love that she said butter like 4 times in this interview because I love butter.
Yeah, me too.
That makes me so happy. We can, we can really enjoy our food and our lifestyle, and that's going to help us be better business owners. So thank you so much, Annette. So go check out everything that she just talked about. Go get your free gift for sure. Where can they get their free gift?
Yeah, it's nobsmealplanning.com.
nobsmealplanning.com. So go check that out. And then if you want to learn even more ways to be able to grow your business in the Lord's way, please join us in our Faithful Ladypreneurs Facebook group. That's Faithful Ladypreneurs, and you can even advertise your business on Saturday's comment thread. So come join us. Awesome. Thanks so much, Annette. This has been super fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. We will see you guys next time on Divinely Driven Results.